Hey, it's Chris with Never Enough Outdoors, and today I wanted to talk about the spinning reel. It can be used for light line or heavy line. You can get these really small or they can be really big. Sometimes you'll see fishermen catching sharks or something really big out in the ocean with really big reels. And sometimes you'll see people catching trout or small brim with really little reels with light weight on them. So these can be used for all types of fishing, big and small fish. So please check out my channel and click the subscribe button below, and let's get started. All right, so I have the reel here, and I wanted to tell you a little bit about this reel. This reel is set up for left-hand reeling, left-hand retrieve. The handle is on the left side, and I like all my handles to be on the left side. But on all these reels, you can take off this screw here, this bolt, and swap. And when you do it, you can pull the handle off and swap it around to the other side. Just pull it out like this, and then pull the handle out and put the handle in the other side, and then you put the screw or the bolt back in the other side, and then you have a right hand retrieve. But I like mine in the left side, so I'm going to put it back where it goes. All right, now I've got it back on the left side, and like I said, this is how I like it. I cast with my right hand. I cast two-handed, but my right hand is my main throwing hand, and then I reel with my left hand. The drag is on the top of the reel. You would turn it counterclockwise to loosen it, so you can pull some line out, or if you're fighting a big fish, it won't be as tight, and you turn it clockwise to tighten it up. All right, now the difference in the spinning reel and the bait caster is the line is round around in this direction versus the bait caster, it's round towards the front and back. Now on the spinning reel, you have this bail that flips over, and you see, then it allows your line to come out. As you can see, when you spin it, when you reel it in, the bail spins around and around, and the line catches right here on this piece, and that's what pulls it around the reel. So see, I'm gonna reel it in. You see it's on that, and it's just lining it around the spool. Some of these spinning reels have a switch, and it's usually about right here. It flips this way or this way, and what that does is, if it's flipped one way, it allows, when you reel, for your spool, your bail, to spin one direction, and when it's flipped the other way, the bail will spin the other way. And like in case you wanted to spool some line off. I don't know why I've ever needed that. I usually leave it in the one position like I'm fishing, but that is available in a lot of these reels, and I just, like I said, I never use it. So that's what that's for, if you ever see it on any of your reels. For the rod, when you pick out a rod for a spinning reel, you don't want one like you do for a bait caster or a spin cast. The bait caster or the spin cast usually has a trigger right in here somewhere, and you would hold that trigger to keep from slinging your rod out into the lake. A lot of these have room here to put your hand on this reel foot where it attaches to your rod, and you could use that, or you just put your hand around it real tight. But that's usually what I use as my trigger, so I don't sling my rod out into the lake. You could get a rod with a trigger on it, but it would probably be in the way because it usually would be about right here. And I don't know why you would ever hold right there on one of these reels. You would mostly want to be up here with the reel beside your hand. But basically the way you cast it is you're gonna flip the bail over but not let go of the line. I usually do this all with 2 hands, but you want to put the line around your finger like I've got it here, and you're kind of tugging on the line against where it's attached here, so you're pulling on it. So, but the weight of your lure also helps put weight on it in this direction. So you pull it, you hold it like this basically, and as you cast, you rear back in your cast like you're throwing a baseball. About the time you let go of the baseball, you want to let go of your finger here. You want it to basically slip off the end of your finger and cast. So I'm going to show you, I'm going to go down to the lake and show you how to do that, and it's going to make a little more sense there. But, and you have to, after you cast, you have to flip the bail back over, or see, it's not going to spin. It won't reel in until you flip this bail back over, and then it will allow you to reel it in. Normally, I would tell you, if you were in your backyard or somewhere, to take a weight and just go out in your backyard, and instead of tying a lure onto the end of your rod, put a weight on it. And you can practice in your backyard. I would get a weight that's about as heavy as what you're going to be casting from the rod you're using, and just take off whatever you've got tied on and tie a weight. Tie any kind of knot onto a weight on the end of your line, and then you can cast it out in your yard. And when you reel it in, there's no hook to get snagged on the ground, or you won't break your lure or drag it across the ground and wear it out. This weight will be perfect. It'll act like your lure, and when you reel it back in, it won't mess up anything. So that's a good way to practice out in your yard. And then when you go to the lake, you can practice your fishing. So I'm going to go down to the water. I just happen to be at a lake today. I'm going to go down to the water, and I've got a small crankbait tied onto the end of this reel, and I'm going to cast it out into the lake. It dives to about 3 feet. I'm in a shallow lake, but I'm just going to cast it out there and show you how to cast it. All right, I came down to the lake, and again, I've got my lure hanging off the end of my rod to show you what this would look like. And I'm going to reel it in about where I would throw it at. And I would say about right here would be where I would put it at. You see, it's about maybe a foot off the end of my rod. Basically, you just want to get the line right here beside your finger. See, I can spin this bail manually, or I can reel it a little bit if I need to. But you want to get it beside your finger here and put your finger around that as you flip the bail over with your left hand. Now see, the weight of my lure and the tug against the reel here where it's wound around there is not letting that fall. Now I'm going to reach back and I'm going to cast it, and as soon as I need to let go, which is, when it's kind of come over my head and kind of pointing straight out in front of me, I'm gonna let this line slip off of my finger, and the lure is going to cast out into the lake. I use 2 hands, so I'm going to hold it like this. You see, it shot out into the lake. I'm going to line the line beside where my finger's here, and I'm going to pull on it. Sometimes you can pull against all the way to the rod, but you just pull on it, make sure it's not going anywhere when you release this bail. Open the bail. I've still got the line on my finger, and again, just let go of it as you need to when you cast it around. But again, put the bail beside your finger, flip the bail open, and cast it. Just let go of the line as you get just after you go over your head. You'll get a feel for it as you do it a few times, and then reel it back in. And like I said, you can do this out in your yard. Get you a weight. You can do it with a lure, but that hook from that lure is going to get snagged on the ground as you reel it in. It's going to either break your line or tear up your hook or tear up your lure. So it's best to get a weight so you don't do that. I'm going to do a side shot so you can see me doing this from the side, it might make a little more sense to you. All right, I'm gonna show you how to do this from the side. Again, reel your reel in so that your bait is about a foot from the tip of your rod, and put the bail so that the line is right here beside your finger, and just grab a hold of it with your finger. Flip the bail open, reach back and let go of the line about in front of you, like you'd let go of a baseball. Then you flip the bail back over. I like to get a good grip on this line so it's tight when I reel it in, so it's not loose on my reel around my spool. Reel it in, and we'll do it again. Get your line off the end of your rod here, get your lure hanging down there a little bit, and put your finger around the line. Get it set up where that line is right there at your finger. Open the bail, and you want to release it about right in there, right, kind of like a baseball. Release it, it'll sling out into the water. It's very simple. Like I said, it looks more complicated than a bait caster or a spin cast, but it's really not. It just does things differently. And like I said, you can put light line on this, catch little fish, and you put heavy line on it, catch big fish. And then there's middleweight. They make these things all different sizes. I have one that's about 1 inch wide and a few inches long, and I have another one that's probably 4 inches wide and 8 inches long. I catch fish in the ocean with. If you have a kid that has one of these and they fish with the right hand reel, you can swap it for another kid and put on a left hand reel. It's that versatile. Again, put your line so that it's beside your finger here. Open the bail and keep it tight, and then as you just release it, throw it out into the lake. It's really simple. Reel it back in. So I hope you've learned something today. If you didn't know how to cast a spinning reel, I hope you'll get out and go fishing, try it out. Let me know what you think in the comments. Check out the other videos I've made where I teach you how to cast a bait caster. I've got another video that teaches how to cast a spin cast rod. That's something a lot of kids' rods have on them, and there's a lot of big rods that have these, and a lot of people use them. But check those videos out. I'll leave a link to them in the description. But let me know in the comments what you like to throw, what kind of rod you like to use, and what kind of reel you like to use, what kind of fishing you like to do. And I'll try to produce some videos of my own doing that type of fishing. So please, again, subscribe, check out my channel, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.